the story that should be making the rounds anyway is 6 CIA analysts, allegedly, according to a whistleblower, came back. They said COVID came from a Wuhan lab, and then they accepted payment to change their opinions on that. Now, Mike, that raises all kinds of very, very frightening questions, and I don't know that there are any good answers if the Central Intelligence Agency is changing things on behalf of China, on behalf of Democrats. I don't know what the answer is, but that is not good.
Well, no, if it's true, and it's a whistleblower who has only been identified as a senior current officer. So we don't have the facts, we don't have the details, nor does the subcommittee there up on the Capitol Hill. But that's what they have to do now. They have to do two things. They have to ensure the anonymity of the whistleblower. That's critical to maintain whistleblower capabilities, right? Because you want that in terms of identifying potential problems, which this could be an awful one. But they've also got to investigate. And until they do, and we know the facts, I'll keep saying if it's true what the whistleblower says, then yes, it's awful, because at the core, the heart of the CIA is the objective collection and reporting of intelligence. You don't put your finger on the scale for any topic. You're out there collecting intel, raw intel out in the field in a variety of ways. You're reporting it back into headquarters. Analysts are then taking it and presenting it, packaging it up, presenting it to the intelligence community, to the national security folks over at the White House. And that can then end up in an editing process, right? That part of it, once it leaves the agency building, there's always been this understanding that, okay, it's going to get mixed with other intel. And by the time it leaves the White House, or they act on it at the White House, it's gone through an editing process, a bit of a washing machine. But the agency's job is to objectively, here are the facts, here's what we're hearing, here's the reports we're collecting, and here they are. So if you have 6 analysts on a 7-person team, which is what this was, the COVID Origins Task Force, essentially, and 6 of those analysts came to the conclusion, or were leaning to the conclusion, that it was the Wuhan lab, not a nature theory, and the 7th analyst, who happened to be the most senior, was leaning or had the nature theory in their sights. And then suddenly the end result is it's undetermined. So obviously, if the whistleblower is correct, something altered those analysts' perceptions and resulted in, no, it's not the Wuhan lab. We can't really say it's nature, so it's an undetermined, which is where the agency still stands to this day in terms of their assessment of this. Other agencies, the FBI, Energy Department, have come out and said, we believe it was a lab leak. Other government agencies have said, no, it's a nature issue. But the CIA is along with a couple others, are on the undetermined scale, our side.
Mike, what's your take on the status of the CIA? What is going on over there? There's obviously a lot of concern shared by yours truly when I see 51 former intelligence officials signing on for a Russian disinformation letter. I see former CIA head after former CIA head sounding like an MSNBC talking head every time they hit the news. I'm concerned, many Americans are concerned about the environment inside of that building.
Well, I think the short answer is the same answer that I usually have when we're talking about the FBI, which is that the people that are doing the operations, the people that are doing the tasks, the people that keep that place running, my experience has been, and all I can do is talk about my experience, is that they're essentially apolitical. They don't care. Tell us what the task is, tell us what the mission is, and we'll get on with it. But there's no doubt that you can get individuals appointed at the senior most level positions, right, who, for one reason or another, are putting out an agenda in terms of their own politics. And we've seen that, not just at the agency, but elsewhere. And so that is a problem. But that is the job of the Senate Intel Committee and the House committees to ensure, by being aggressively curious, inquisitive, and constantly asking questions, and to the degree that you can, because there's always going to be a sources and methods issue here, but to the degree that you can, that you have transparency. You cannot have a politicized intel organization. That then makes us a banana republic if we have that. And so you always have to fight against that.
Do we have that? Because it sure looks like from the outside looking in, we do, Mike.
Yeah, I don't think we do. I'm going to hold the line on that one and say, like I said, you can get a director, you can get an individual who becomes enamored of their contact with, their proximity to the White House and to the power that is. But no, I've spent too much time behind a curtain and know too many outstanding people there at the agency. You give them a task, they do that task, that operation, and then they get the next one and they move on. And these people are amazing. I can't speak for what happens on the 7th floor because nobody in their right mind would have let me up there. So I think that, but from what I've seen, no, we don't have that issue. I mean, but I'm not saying that you shouldn't be watching out for it, because it is something that you cannot allow to happen. So you have to push back. And our best, most direct way of doing that, again, is by Congress doing their job. There's a well-worn path between Langley, the headquarters for the agency, and Capitol Hill of briefers going back and forth and back and forth. It's not like the folks up on Capitol Hill don't have opportunities all the time to ask questions and say, what is going on? What are you doing? Et cetera. There is a game in Washington, D.C. where those politicians like to act surprised when something does come out, and then they pretend like they didn't know about it. But that's usually just crap because they've been briefed ad nauseum. So maybe I'm cynical.
Maybe we all are. Mike, it is the President's Daily Brief podcast. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Likewise, man. Take care.
Imagine having your own personal spy available to you every single morning. Introducing the President's Daily Brief with Mike Baker. From behind the desk of a seasoned intelligence officer, Mike breaks down global events in a way once reserved for the President of the United States. New episodes every weekday morning. Get briefed, stay ahead. The President's Daily Brief with Mike Baker. Subscribe now wherever you get your podcasts.